Hello, good evening, everyone. You are welcome to this lecture session. I want to start the lecture. Lend me your ears, just listening ears, and let's run through the lecture successfully. In our previous lecture, we discussed the cultural perspectives that provide differences of human resource management practices across countries or across cultures. We identified some cultural frameworks, such as the Hofstede 1980-2001, the Tompena Abdin Tona 1993, the Globe Study by a group of researchers, House et al. 2004, and Hall 1976. In today's lecture, we are going to look at the institutional perspectives that provide reasons for differences in human resource management practices across countries. And this lecture will particularly focus on the institutional perspectives. We are going to look at the several perspectives, institutional perspectives, that also provide reasons for differences in human resource management practices across countries. We are going to look at the varieties of capitalism as one of them, the institutional isomorphism as the second one. These are the two perspectives we are going to look at in this lecture, if time permits us, if time and space permits us. The varieties of capitalism. First, let us understand what we mean by institutional perspectives. What is institutional perspectives? What do we mean by institutional perspectives? It involves different ways of structures, including rules and norms, routines and schemas that become as authoritative guidelines for social behavior. That definition is given by, is accredited to North 1990 and Scott 2001. Institutions are accepted rules of conduct that manifest as rules, they manifest as governance mechanisms, both in the society, organization, and markets. Varieties of capitalism are of three types. The first is Anglo-Saxon Liberal Market Economy. Good examples include USA, Germany, Canada, Norway, and the rest of them. The second one is coordinated, collaborative, or coordinated market economies. Examples are Japan and Germany. And then the third is mixed market economy or transitional economy. Example is Nigeria. VOC, variety of capitalism defined. What does it mean? It refers to many different ways of organizing a capitalist economy or economic system. Two major types of market economy exist, and other forms of it originates from either of the two. Other form of it originate from either of the two, according to Hall and Soskies, 2001. Anglo-Saxon Liberal Market Economy. We are going to focus on the US model. There is UK model. There is also USA model. USA model, giving a description of USA model of a liberal market economy, is a liberal market economy that is free, that has freedom of enterprise. What we mean by that, having freedom of enterprise, is that people are free to go about their businesses. They are free to establish any form of business they want to establish or they want to engage in, on government regulations and rules. There is no price control in this economy, this type model of economy. It is liberal economy. It means that the market is governed by price mechanisms, by the forces of demand and supply. That's what it means. And so government has no intervention over it. The government has no control over it. It is governed by price mechanism. Price mechanism has rules. It's an economic system that has rules and regulations. It is a liberal market economy that is free and compartmentalized market economy. That means it is separated in sectors. For instance, you have banking sector, agricultural sector, manufacturing sector, and other sectors. It is separated in a sector. The separation is rigid, and it exercises a certain level of autonomy. Because of the separation, they gain autonomy. Each sector has its own autonomy. It is a free market economy. What are the features? What are the features that this economy exhibits? It includes competition. In a liberal market economy, there is competition, especially the US model. Competition is the survival of the fittest. It is capitalist-oriented market, whereby you invest as you are the owner of the organization. You are the owner, you own the property. You are licensed to your property. And so, as many as they are that exist, that are capitalists in that economy are competitive. It is survival of the fittest, and it is profit-oriented. It is profit-oriented. A radical innovation is one of the characteristics of the liberal market economy of the US model. Innovation is initiative. You are free to invent ideas. You are free to invent technologies. You are free to initiate any idea that will help to boost the economy and yield more profit in your business. It's a private ownership. It is a private ownership. It exhibits the characteristics of private ownership. It is owned by individuals. It is owned by individuals. And there is low rate of taxation because the government wants to, improve. Once this sector, this type of a market economy, the industries, the companies that exist in this liberal market economy to grow, to develop. The US model incorporates interventionist role of the government, generally welfare. That's the only aspect where the government is involved in the area of welfare. Remember, our protection is not put in place. People will go haywire, and the property of organizations will not be guided. And people will behave anyhow in the market economy. So government in this aspect involves in regulating the welfare of the people as well as protecting their lives, protecting the rights and property of the individuals. Examples of liberal market economies or countries are Australia, Britain, India, Ireland, New Zealand. The Britain model of liberal market economy is different model. We call it Rhineland model of difference. It is different from the US model. The Britain is a monarchical country. And so the monarchical rule, like chieftaincy rule, affects the features of a monarchy affects the economic, the market economy. And so that is what makes it different. One of the features that distinguishes it from or differentiates it from the liberal market economy of the US model. There are other features which, if you go into literature, you will find out yourself. Now, the second market economy is the collaborative or coordinated market economy. Good examples include Japan and Germany. How do we describe this market economy? It is a market economy where there are different market segments, units and firms are coordinated. You know, there are different of them. There are different existing segments of the market economy. The market is segmented into units, and the firms are coordinated as many as the segments are or the units are, yet they are coordinated. They interact with each and one another. That is what the difference between the coordinated market economy and the liberal market. Liberal market is free market economy, but coordinated market economy is interrelated. They coordinate with one another. What are the features? What features does it exhibit? It is a social market economy. And you know, in a social market economy, government presence is paramount. Government presence is paramount. In fact, government provides almost all the things that exist. Government provides the rules are written, especially in the constitution of the country. There is no individualism is not private ownership is coordinated. The private firms or companies that exist in coordinated market economy are coordinated but are regulated by the government rules and regulations. You know, there is strong and active institutional regulations, yes, and with close ties. That is what I'm trying to explain. There is a strong tie. Institutional regulations, the regulations that are generally accepted rules of behavior, of social behavior, exist in coordinated market economy. You know, between the different shareholders, the state, and the companies, and various shareholders that reflect, especially in the Japanese model of a Confucian Asian approach of capitalism. Other examples, you know, include like Germany is an example of it, and France. France is a socialist. All these countries are socialist. They are socialist countries. Now, the third one is the mixed market economy or the transitional market economy. Example is Nigeria. This particular typology, economic typology, market economic typology is the type that exists in developing countries, and that is why it is called transitional market economy. It's a developing market economy system. There is no clear clarification. There is no clear classification of the Nigerian's market economy, because Nigeria falls within this mixed market economy. It is the modern theorists describe this market economy of Nigeria as mixed market economy. Why? Because private ownership exists. There is public companies and private companies exist. Government and individuals are involved in this type of market economy. According to Jackson 2006, all African states are transitional market economies because of they are developing economies, That is why they are transitional. Examples of this include Africa. In Africa, we have Nigeria, West Africa. Nigeria is in West Africa. Arab and Latin American states are examples of mixed market economy or transitional market economy. A mixed market economy is an economic system. Both private and public ownership type of companies are allowed. In Nigeria, we have a private sector and the public sector. Private sector owned by individuals and public sector owned by the government. So that is why it is called mixed market economy. And it is also called command economy, because the government intervention is, the presence of government is also very high in some aspects. For instance, when government wants to privatize its companies, it makes the rules, government makes the rules and the regulations that the organization or the individual that are involved, that have privatized the public company will follow. They will give them maybe target and rules and regulations on how they will run the public organization. And so government intervention in that aspect is also very paramount. But when it is also privatized, when it is privatized by individuals, when individuals purchase the company, public company, they become, the profit-oriented. The organization becomes profit-oriented, and in that sense, government intervention in that aspect is very minimal. And it is when it happens in that two ways, it is now a blend of socialism and capitalism. So we can say, mixed market economy is a blend of socialism and capitalism. And so what are the features? What are the characteristics that this economy exhibits? Self-interest of individuals. That is one of the first characteristic. Self-interest of individuals. In what sense? It is profit-oriented. Capitalism. When they buy public or when they establish their own organizations, it is to maximize profit. They want to maximize profit. And in such situation, exploitation is there, and price control is not observed. People hike prices. You can see in Nigeria today, even when there is rain in Nigeria, transporters increase fare. They should start every slightest opportunity to make more money. Self-interest, not minding the interest of the public. That is one of the characteristics. The second one is safeguard its people and its market because of the ownership of capital. They safeguard people, they safeguard the interests of their market. For continuity, people's life have to be protected and guided in order to enhance to achieve the objectives of their businesses. Government creates central plan that guides the economy. Central plan that guides the economy. There is price control, but you can see the Nigerian model. Price control is not effective. It's non-existent. That was, I remember, in the period of either Gowon or Obasanjo or so. The price control board was very effective. There were price tags on products. Everybody, the public knows what this particular product, the cost of a particular product at a very given time. And if you default, there is a penalty, a task force that will make sure that you obey the rules, you comply with the rules. Transportation and manufacturing sector exist in this mixed market economy, owned by people or group of people. You have manufacturing sector. It is what grows this economy, manufacturing sector. Manufacturing sector is prominent in small-scale businesses where people can produce, soap industry, hair making, barber shop, and small businesses in mixed market economy. And this boosts the economy of the country or the nation that practices this type of economy. It protects private property. Yes, the economy protects private property because it is capitalist oriented. People will not want to invest money and then people will go and destroy it, and there will be the environment. There is no conducive environment for business to thrive. So protection, there are laws that protect property, private property, but in a country where the people's property are being ignored, people can just go and set buildings ablaze. There are cases of stories. There are cases of buildings, stories where buildings are set on fire, public buildings, including individual companies and the rest of them. It is not a new thing in Nigeria that private property is not protected. And that is why, one of the reasons why we don't have foreign investors. When there is no conducive environment that will attract investors, they will not come to invest their money. And so that is one of the features, a very important feature that mixed market economy exhibits.
Recording in progress.
Allows free market economy. Free market allows free market economy. The laws of demand and supply, like I said, also, is prominent here. The laws of demand and supply, but it is at the discretion of the people. If a particular product is a certain amount of money, a fixed money, they overlook for profit. They maximize profit. That is the problem with this economy. It is not regulated in theory, it may, but in practice, it is a different ballgame. The Nigerian model is exemplified in the 1986 Structural Adjustment Program, which exhibits the characteristics of a neoliberal market economy. A neoliberal market economy is an economy where the government is fully involved. Government privatize, public companies, they regulate the economy, increase fuel price, pump price. There are no substitution. The policy substitution is not given adequate attention. Fiscal and monetary policies to control inflation, reduction in the public expenditure. There is tight inflation in neoliberal market economy. It is evidence that Nigeria's economy can be described as a blend. You can see, you don't know where you classify Nigerian market economy, whether it is mixed, transitional, or neoliberal. You can see the three manifested in this aspect. So we can conclude that the Nigerian market economy is not clearly defined. It's not well defined. We cannot say unequivocally that Nigerian market economy is a mixed market economy or is transitional. You can remember, if you watch the trend of events, Nigeria started developing along with within China, India. But today, China has gone ahead. China is no longer a developing country. China is a second, it's not a third world country, it's a second world country. It's even a first world country when you begin to look at the way they are prospering their economy. The economic growth and indices, confirm that China, I remember when China was population-wise, China is very great in population. And a country that is highly populated without adequate economic growth to support it, it will fall into inflation. China was inflation. China was inflation for so many years before the Messiah visited them and gave them good leadership. And today, China is a very world-class economy. The same thing is applicable to India. India was developing country along with Nigeria. But India, you cannot talk about India. You cannot classify India as a third world country. No, India is ahead of Nigeria. What of Malaysia? Malaysia that came to Nigeria and stole our palm seed. Today, Malaysia is the world producer of palm oil and palm kernel. and that is where they derive, where they get their gross domestic product. That nation is fast growing. But Nigeria is still developing. We are still talking about developing Nigeria. Less developed Nigeria. Less developed Nigeria. Developing country. There is no way you can't even say that Nigeria is a second world country. No, because it doesn't exhibit such features. Now, after we have done all this, we looked at the varieties of capitalism, the three of them. We tried to compare, the HRM practices that are, derivable from the description we have and the features they have exhibit. And what are the likely features? What are the likely practices that are influenced by these market economies? And we compared Nigeria, USA, and Japan. You can see page 57 and 58 of your lecture notes. We differentiated, we compared the practices. We compared the human resource, recruitment and selection practices in Nigeria. Recruitment and selection. We compared it on page 57. If you go to page 57, you see the comparison, how we compared it. Nigeria is selective. Recruitment and selection in Nigeria is selectively done. It is selectively done and determined by managerial decisions and referral. Managerial decisions and socio-economic, socio-political connections. If you don't have connections, you cannot. It is difficult sometimes for you to get a good employment. But in the United States and Japan, which are coordinated market economy, the recruitment selection practice they call shukasu in Japanese language operates. It is popularly a situation that exists in where workers are highly screened. In the US, it also involves selective hiring of new workers and minimal screening is involved. But in the Japanese system, it involves the recruitment of fresh graduates. The recruitment of fresh graduates, which is popularly called. You can look at it in your lecture notes and see that comparison. We did. Compensation, the same thing we compared on compensation practices. Compensation practices, like we had also in our previous lecture. In Nigeria, compensation is based on grade, status differentiation. The level of your grade determines how much you get. You have salary structure in Nigeria. We have salary structure. A certain level of amount is paid to a certain status. We also have incentive method. We have individual method of incentive. We have group method of incentive. Individual method of incentive. We have group individual method bonuses. And some perks. Group incentive, we talk about profit sharing and other forms of group incentive schemes. Training and development. In the US, in compensation in the US, it is performance rated payment. You pay as you receive, as you work, as you perform. Performance determines how much money that is paid. In the Japanese system, it is usually a group payment. In Japan, payment is based on promotion. Compensation and promotion are based on performance and seniority, based on performance and seniority. Training and development is a bit slow and very expensive to invest in human capital in Nigeria. Training, generally, organizations run away from training because training is very expensive. Most of the organizations see training as a cost rather than as an investment. They are afraid if they are trained, you may not remain. That worker may not remain, may not stay, because he has been equipped with training. And so he becomes a high flyer. People may poach that worker from where he has received his training. And so organizations look at it with mincing eyes, to reserve training for those that they are sure that after training, they will remain. They will stay and work and perform, so that the return on investment will be recovered. And so that is applicable to training. In the US, training is decentralized to company level, highly innovative. Training is vocational. Vocational training is paramount, is key in US method of training. Vocational training, innovative training, Whereas in Japan, training methods include also vocational training and the use of job rotation. Job rotation is a method of training. Training is very, very important in every organization. Most of the organizations resort to job rotation. They prefer job rotation to any other method of training because of its expensive nature. Performance appraisal. We compared performance appraisal across the three countries, Nigeria, USA, and Japan. Performance appraisal in Nigeria is sometimes dialogue. It is, I can't even, classify the method of performance appraisal in Nigeria. The method we have modern methods of performance appraisal right now. The 1 year method of performance appraisal is obsolete. It has been overtaken by performance management system, a system that evaluates or appraises, assesses employees or workers regularly. A 1 year performance appraisal is outdated and obsolete. We have what we call check-in feedback system of performance appraisal, which requires, some of the organizations are embracing it right now, even in Nigeria. They, every 2 months or every 3 months, quarterly, or every week. Some organizations do it every week. They are leaders, and that's why they have sectional leaders, unit leaders. They organize themselves together and then hold a brief meeting of assessment, appraising all they have done for that week. That's the kind of appraisal system that is involved. Most of the companies that are popular all over the globe, they have embraced check-in and feedback system of performance appraisal. In the US, they have rapid or continuous evaluation and promotion based on performance. Based on performance, continuous. That's what continuous appraisal, and not 1 year or 6 monthly performance appraisal. The last one we compared with the second to the last was employment type. What type of employment do we have in Nigeria? Employment type. What type of employment do we have in Nigeria? What type of employment? What is the popular employment type we have in Nigeria? The popular type of employment we have in Nigeria is casualization and contract staff and outsourcing. And the multinational companies are in the lead. And most of organizations, including banks, have also followed suit. If you graduate now, you go out there to look for job in the labor market. They put you, they will not even look at your certificate. They give you a job and decide to give you any amount of money. They exploit both your physical and mental effort. That is the type of employment type we have. When they employ you, they will not give you the due salary. They will not give you allowances. You won't have the allowances. You will not have the salary that is due you. They will not. They place you on casualization. And if no appointment is given, they won't give you appointment because they can hire and fire you anytime. That is the type of, we call it that pickup type of employment, or non-standard work of non-standard type of employment. That is the type of employment we have in Nigeria. In the US, it's not like that. Employment is based on merit, based on what you can do. Before you are given a job, they give you a practical interview, and not written interview. Practical interview. They do what you can do. That is why performance is performance. What you can do. That is why it is individualism country or culture. It is high individualism. It is an individual effort. What you can do as a person, and not what certificate can do for you. And so they put you on action learning and simulation method of training. In Japan, Japan is a country that also their type of employment. America, is a flexible. That type of employment is also flexible, like the one I explained in under USA. It's flexible employment. Flexible. It's also called flexible employment or work arrangement. Temporary and permanent. That's what I have. Japan is lifetime. The lifetime employment applies. Lifetime employment. If you work, you will work in one place and work until you retire. The company provides everything for you, including the government, because it's a socialist country. The aspect that the company can do, they do. The aspect that the government can do, they do. But while you are working, you will work there for life. You don't have to move from one company to another. You know what that means? It means before they employ you, you must be fit for the job you want to work on. The job must fit. You must fit into the job. That's what I mean. Must fit into the job. And so the interview is not only oral. It is also practical. What you can do. And so when they employ you for life. Until when you are old, you want to, you cannot retire. That is the employment type in Japan. What about employee? We compare also employee representative. Employee representative. In Nigeria, employee representative is characterized by low union density. Union without union activities. There are unions, but the unions are not active. There are few unions in Nigeria that are very active. You can mention ASU. You can mention Nigerian Labour Congress. If you ask me, I tell you that they have political influence, can trigger instability in the organization. They are politically inclined. A situation where a leader of a union, labor union, will go and contest political election position signifies that they have a political inclination. They are not sincere in their leadership. Then when you go to oil company organizations, there are just two companies, two unions, two pragmatic unions, the Nupeng and Pengasin. That's all. And they are unions without unionism. They are just existing in them. Those workers in the oil companies are being hijacked from them. It is only those in the top, the senior rank, that benefit from the organization, from the oil companies that are silent. But the majority of the workers are on casualization. Those that do the work are casual workers and contractors. The permanent workers are very few. The number of casual workers and contractors are numbers, they are greater in number than the permanent staff. And so that explains why there is low wages. I mean, they pay them money and they receive jumbo salary. I mean, why there is union avoidance? Because they know that if there is union organizing, that they will solidify. So their solidarity will break their imperialist motives. That is what we have in Nigeria, what we experience in Nigeria, union without unionism. You know, collective bargaining is decentralized to plant level or enterprise level in US. In Nigeria, there is also weak collective bargaining. Nigeria, there is weak for collective bargaining. Well, how many ASU has been bargaining with the Nigerian government? Yet, up till now, the bargaining is still on. You can see that bargaining in Nigeria is not easy. It's a Herculean task. In the US, there is also low union density. It prevails in the US as well. The low density in membership, that's what I mean. If the unions have low density of membership, their members are not great. They don't have enough. The number is not much. The membership is low. Their solidarity, it will affect every aspect of their activities, union activities. But where the number, you know, there is strength in number. So when the union membership is low, the strength will be low. It is as simple as that. In the US, because there is no union, there is no membership, they avoid unions. It means that membership, I mean that the union activities will also be affected. You know, so if you go to pages 57 and 58, you should be able to read how we have compared these practices across the 3 countries. You can also take an exploratory literature review and about other countries we have mentioned, like UK, Germany, Canada, and the rest of them. You can do an independent study on these countries and use the characteristics that the market economics exhibit to derive or to compare the practices. All these practices are values. They are value systems and relations of people and organization. And this relationship manifests into policies and practices. HRM practices are nothing but values. They are organizational values, societal values that manifest those practices. So if you're able to look at a country and be able to classify the country, look at the culture, look at the national culture, and then relate it to society and people. I mean, the people and the organization, you'll be able to know what their HRM practices will look like. I have given you a note on criticisms. All these culture, institutional perspective, they have their criticisms. They have been criticized also. They are not perfect. There are certain things that can change these practices, and they will not be the same. And so these two, the cultural perspective and the institutional perspectives, they provide reasons. These two aspects provide reasons, why human resource management practices differ across countries, across cultures. Now, the other two we are going to look at in our next lecture, that is isomorphic, institutional isomorphism, and universalist and contextual HRM, or convergence and universalist HRM, human resource management. We provide reasons for similarities. We have these two we have taken are for differences. The other two we are going to take in our next lecture will teach us or educate us reasons or provide reasons for differences in human resource management practices across countries. And so we are going to take that lecture in our next topic. Now, revision questions. That ends the lecture. I have ended the lecture. That topic is concluded. Now, I framed some questions, 3 questions, study questions that will help you to revise this topic, do a revision on this topic. And you can see the 3 questions I'm sharing, I have shared. One is highlight the characteristics of any 2 varieties of capitalism you know and outline their implications for HRM. But some of you, over my teaching experience, you don't know how to beg for marks. You don't know how to beg for marks. When you are writing or answering a question, your focus should be your examiner, your teacher, your lecturer. What has he been able to impact on you on this particular topic? Some of you just write jumps. You don't write answer questions very well to attract marks.
No.
If you want to answer this question now, highlight characteristics of any 2 varieties of capitalism you know and outline their implications for HRM practices. The first thing you should do is to tell me what you understood or what you understand by varieties of capitalism. You must not write the things, the one I have given you. If you write it, yes, but I expect that you do your own research and get more information, because also I'm learning. I want to also get from you. You write and add to what I have given you. This lecture is not conclusive. It's not exhaustive anyway. You have to also add something to it to show that you are really working, that you have really worked, and that you deserve the A or the B you are aiming at. When you have done this, the question says 2. You list the 2. When you list, I like when students list and explain. That is it shows orderliness. It shows good presentation of work. You list the 2 and then explain what the 2 are talking about. If the 2, for instance, we described it. You describe the 2, that's description. You describe the 2 varieties. When you describe the 2 varieties, they talk about the features it exhibits. After the features it exhibits, you now compare practices. And if you see, my marking guide will be definition, 3 marks or 5 marks. List and explain, 2 marks or 3 marks, the case may be. And then comparison, 4 or 5 marks. Subtotal, A, B, C. The sum of A, B, C is equal to that. That is how to beg for marks. But when you come and junk everything together, I don't have time for that. We have 2 types of marking system. One is block marking. I don't mark block marking. It pains me to mark block marking. I don't mark it. I'm a professional marker. I don't mark block. I don't score. I look at the page of what my student has written. I say 5 marks or 10 marks. It pains me, but I do it if you don't, if your work is not sequenced, and you will not score, you will score low mark because you don't understand how to beg for marks. I am telling you this now because when you answer questions, but especially on this course, you can see it is very elaborate and it is very detailed. And I expect that you write a very good, present a very good write-up to score the A. I expect you to score. I don't restrict students. I don't minimize or miss my marks. I give my students marks they merit. Ask. Now, the second one is briefly discuss the USA model of liberal market economy. USA liberal market economy is very distinct from UK market economy. Go and read UK Rhino market economy in literature. I will want you to distinguish between the two models, between USA model of liberal market economy and the UK liberal market economy. Go and read it. I didn't give you enough differences in this lecture note. I just gave you one, monarchy. UK is monarchy. And because of the monarchical nature, it affects the market economy. But there are other characteristics that it exhibits. And those characteristics will affect the kind of human resource management practices that exist in that country. Please go and read it. I have given you 2 assignments since this lecture. The first one, I told you to go and read Globe research study. I told you to go and read the Globe group study by some researchers. It's very, very important you go and read it and compare it with hosted dimensions of culture and see how they are related. I'm not telling you I'm going to ask you it in the exam, but it's for knowledge sake. 3. Okay, I'm still talking about 2. The difference. Okay, I even stated it in the question. I said liberal market economy. I said, how is it different from the UK and Nigeria's model? In fact, include US model in this question. That means it's okay. Discuss the various perspectives. That's number 3. Discuss the various perspectives of Nigeria's market economy and highlight its implications for HRM practices. When we say implications, it means how does it influence? How does it affect the human resource practices? And this is a comparative study. Whenever you are studying one country and another, you are comparing. So it is a comparative study. Implications there means you are going to compare the two, not the implication of you go and write, you must compare the 2 or 3 countries, as the case may be. And so that is the conclusion of this lecture.